To get started, I'm going to double click on the My Computer icon that I see down here in the lower left hand corner. And this is going to open up a Windows Explorer view that's going to display all of the disk devices that are connected to my computer. I'm interested in navigating to my G drive, which is the USB attachable portable disk device that has been handed off to me by the data creator and the data sender. And as I look in this directory, I see that I have the BagIt bags folder, which is the folder that they used to create the bags, and I have the BagIt 3.9 folder, which is actually going to store the BagIt program. So in my configuration here, the BagIt program is actually installed on the portable drive that was sent to me, and I'm therefore going to invoke and run the BagIt command from this G drive location. Let's take a look at this folder. So I'm going to double click on BagIt 3.9. And in this folder you see all the files and folders related to the BagIt application. And you see that we have a bin directory, which as I mentioned is short for binary, which is a common directory name to find application programs. So as I double click on the bin directory, we'll see that in that folder I have a bag and bag.bat file, which are the actual bag command files. I'm going to resize this window so that we can see it along with our DOS window. And what I want to do next is open up a DOS window so that I can prepare it to run my bag command. As I described, the way you access a DOS command is go down to your Start button in the lower left-hand corner and click that, and you'll see that there is a Run option on the menu. I'm going to select Run, and this will display the Run command window. And what I want to do is type in CMD to run the command, hit the OK button, and now I see a DOS window displayed for me. And as I mentioned, you see that the DOS window defaults to my local Documents and Settings directory. Now what I want to do is change directory to my BagIt 3.9/bin directory. So it will be two steps to do this, because right now you can see that I am looking at the C drive and I need to change my command window to be looking at the G drive. So to change to the G drive, it's simply type G:, and then your Enter key. And you can see that the prompt follows you and gives you a hint of what directory you're currently in. So the next thing I'm going to do is use the DOS CD command, which is for change directory, and I have a nice prompt by looking at the window, the Windows Explorer window at the top of my display. And now I'm going to use the CD command, and I need to type in the complete path to the bin directory. So it will be / and that is a backslash, BAGIT 3.9/bin. And when I hit the Enter key, I will change directory, and I have an extra indication that I have changed directory by the prompt changing its location as well. Now that I am in the directory, I can use the DOS dir command, directory command, to display the directory contents. And what we see as we issue the directory command, that we see the same three files in the DOS window as we see in our Windows Explorer window. So now I have this DOS window all set and prepped to run the bag command. Before running the bag command, though, there is one other preparation step that I need to complete, and that is to make sure that my Java home environmental variable is set. And the way I do that is by entering the set command, SET, and the Enter key. And this provides me an alphabetized list of all of the environment variables that are set up for my computer session. And I will need to scroll up here to get up to the J's. And as I look here, you can see that the Java home environment variable is set, and it is pointing to the G:\JRE directory. As I mentioned, both the BagIt program and the Java runtime environment program are both installed on my G portable disk device. Scroll back down here so we can be back to our prompt. Now, before running the bag verify valid command, what I need to do is retrieve the bag from my portable disk. So what I want to do is open up another view of my G drive. So I'm going to go back down to my computer icon, double click on that, open up my G drive, and the bags have been transferred in a folder on the G drive called BagIt_bags. So I'm going to double click on this, And we can see that when I go into that folder that I have a bag here called my_easily_exec_orders_bag. And we have used the _bag naming convention to denote that this folder is indeed a bag. Because as you look at it, it looks no different than any other file folders that you would be looking at in your Windows Explorer view. I'm going to go ahead and make this window a little smaller because we're going to want to see a couple of windows here as we do our work. Now, before I verify the bag, I need to bring that bag into my local system. So I have on my H drive as my workspace. So I'm going to open up another Windows Explorer window for my H drive. And you see that on my H drive, I have a My Projects_DR folder for My Projects Data Receiver. This is my working space. But what we need to do before we actually verify the bag is create a staging folder in our local disk space. So I'm going to create a new folder here, and the way you do that, if you're not familiar with that, is you press the right mouse button on your mouse, and that'll display a menu. And I'm going to select the New and follow that out folder to create a new folder. And this now gives me a prompt that I can now create a folder, and I'm going to create the BagIt staging folder, which is going to be my temporary holding space, my temporary workspace, to bring that bag into my local disk to verify it prior to unpacking it. So I've now created that folder, and I'm going to go into my BagIt staging folder, and I have a blank folder. So now we're going to copy the bag from our portable device into our staging folder. And the way we do that is we go into the BagIt Bags view, select the folder, use my right mouse menu once again, and there's a copy option there. And this allows me to copy the folder. And what I can do now is go down and click on my BagIt staging folder, similarly use your right mouse menu button, and I'm going to do a paste. And this is now going to copy the bag into my local H drive into my staging folder. So we have now essentially completed the transfer of the bag from the sender system into our local system. And before we unpack the bag, now is where we want to go ahead and validate the bag and verify that the bag's contents have been unaltered through the course of the transfer. So you can see that there has been a transfer to the portable device and then a transfer off of the portable device. So we want to make sure that those files remain intact. So I'm going to go ahead and X out of this BagIt Bags folder because I'm no longer going to need that. We're done with our portable drive at this point. And I now have my Easily Exec Orders bag, and this is the bag that we want to run our Verify Valid option on. So if you recall, the way to run the verify command is to run bag and pass in the Verify Valid option, and then we are going to give the complete path to the bag that we want to verify. So this is going to be H:// and once again having the window open at the top provides a nice prompt. BagIt _staging / and then the name of the folder or the name of the bag that we want to verify is my_easily_exec_orders_bag. So it's the bag command followed by the verify valid option followed by the complete path to the bag that we are verifying. So now I'm going to hit my enter key, and BagIt is going to go out and verify this bag, and we see that in this case the bag has been verified as valid. So let's take a little closer look at the bag to see if we can understand how Verify Valid works. If you completed part 3, you'll have already seen how we inspected the bag and looked at the bag's contents, and you may want to scroll forward in the tutorial to the next part as we inspect the bag here. So what I'm going to do is open up the Easily Exec Orders bag by double-clicking on it. And what we see here is we are looking at the top of the bag. And we see that there is a data folder, which is the folder that is going to hold all of the files that we have asked the bag to transfer. And then there are several information files that are related to managing the bag. And these hold metadata in them, which is information about the bag. So let's take a quick look through these. The baginfo.txt file, and I just double click on that and it will open up a notepad for me. This is a very useful file because it gives me information like the size of the bag, the date the bag was created, and another piece of information which may not be as intuitively obvious is this number at the end of the first line actually tells us how many files were in the bag. So this bag contained 80 files. So this is a handy little file to know about if you're just trying to understand how many files are in a bag and how big it is and how much disk space it's going to take. Just going to X out of here, hit the X in the upper right hand corner. The BagIt text file, bagit.txt file, is another information file, and this provides a version of the BagIt program which is an internal version number, will not necessarily match the 3.9 that you see. This file won't be as much use to you, but it's good to know it's there. And BagIt needs it for its processing. The next file, manifest-md5.txt, is the really important file here. As we open up this file, this is essentially an inventory listing of all of the files that are in the bag. So we see each of the file names as we scan down through here. And we also see which path those files are stored in, or which directory they are stored in inside the bag. So it's an inventory of all the files, and then on the left here we see the checksum value, and this is what gives BagIt its smarts to be able to do the verify valid operation. So when this bag was created, a checksum was run on each one of these files, which means the computer computed a value based on the contents of that file. And as the file is transferred over to the destination system, it is going to come back and recompute the checksum based on the contents of the file on the receiving side. And it's going to make sure that that newly computed value matches the values that you see in this file. So this is basically the brains behind the verify valid option. It has all of the files, it has the inventory of all the files, and the checksums for those files to verify that the file has come through unchanged. I'm going to X out of this since we're done looking at this. And the last file that we see in the list here is another MD5 file, the tag manifest md5.txt. Double click on that. And in addition to doing checksums for the data files that are coming across in our bag, we need to do checksums on the information files because, for example, we want to make sure that that manifest-md file has not been modified in any way through the course of the transfer. So BagIt likewise records checksums for each of its information files. So those are the information files that are stored in the bag, and then we have this data directory. And as I gave you a little bit of a hint as we looked in the manifest file, when I click on the data directory, this is going to be where the files and folders are that were loaded into the bag for transfer. And what's really nice about BagIt, as I mentioned, is that it uses just a regular Windows folder structure to store the information. You don't need to use any special tools like WinZip to extract the files. So when it gets to the point that we're ready to extract the files from the bag, we just come in and use our standard Windows tools. Now I'm going to double click on this because we can go out and just kind of take a look and see what we have in the bag. And we see that in the bag they have sent us folders that contain executive orders from 2005, 2006, 2007, and 2008. And if I click down into one of those, I actually see the executive order files themselves. Each of them is a PDF file. So that's how the bag is organized. At the top of the bag we have the data folder, which is the parent folder for all of the files that have been transferred. And then the bag's information files, which include the bag-info.txt file, which provides a summary of the size of the bag, including the number of files in the bag's disk utilization, and the manifest and tag manifest-md5 files, which hold the inventory listing for all of the files in the bag and each file's corresponding checksum that BagIt refers to when the verify valid option is run to validate that the checksums are unchanged as the files are transferred.